Hi everybody, this is Jill Powers, and what I'm going to talk about today is Superman because me and the hubster went to see it on Thursday, and I was going to skip Friday because I'm always very busy on Friday, and then post it yesterday, but I was not feeling really up to snuff. I'm a lot better today, thanks. And just a quick shout out to the anybody affected by the Kerrville flood. There are like 129 people pronounced dead now, and there's still like about 170 more who are still missing. So prayers out to those families. Um, that I'm thinking about y'all and everybody else who has had any part of this. And they had one Coast Guard um, military uh, swimmer who went in and had saved like 186 people so far, and that was just the first day. So um, kudos to him. That is our first responders, people, and who you're criticizing, and the media's been trying to paint him as some kind of villain for saving people. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous to politicize weather. Stop it. This isn't climate change. It had nothing to do with siren systems. It was a flood that started. Um, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when it hit Camp Mystic, and you know there were no warning systems for that where they were. That's just a fact of nature. Where the camp was located, everything. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that anymore. But I just want to say, stop politicizing everything, and that includes, Superman. Let's not overanalyze this. It's it's a comic book, okay, and a pretty simple one at that. And the premise, of course, is always the same: that he came from Smallville. He was raised by foster parents. His real parents died in the catastrophic extinction of Krypton, and apparently they had sent the super dog, Crypto, ahead as the experiment, and then the baby boy who became Clark Kent and Superman. So, problem right away with the premise of Superman, that it starts with text telling you on screen what to think. Now, so does Star Wars, but it does it in such a way that it's introductory. In a way, it does not detract from the film. This kind of does. It doesn't tell you enough. Normies are not going to have any knowledge of the lore. If you're a boomer, sure, you're going to know about the premise of Superman, and I saw the 1978 film in the movie theater. Okay, I know the origin story. I don't have to be told it, but there are a lot of people who want to have that shown, even if it's just brief scenes, because you don't get a sense of who he is and why he is the way he is. Yeah, he was raised on a farm, okay, out in this little town, um, seemingly originally in Kansas. I think this is in Ohio, but but the characters, the characters are bad. I've got to say, the writing is, first of all, bad. It's choppy. You you don't get a clear sense of dramatic structure. It just kind of there's a lot of Deus ex machinas that are just pulled out of their ass and stuck there. It's not organic, okay? You don't get the sense that anything is organic here. It doesn't fit. We have the whole notion of the multiverse. Oh my goodness. Y'all forgot about that, huh? A pocket dimension, yeah, that's a multiverse. All right, let's be honest with ourselves. You have to create something out of nothing. That's a Deus ex machina. So, but in any case, it there there are holes in the plot, like when the engineer goes in and extracts the information about Jor-El and Lara, and then proceeds to go and restructure this broken recording. You mean Clark couldn't have done that? Come on. She's coming into his house, and he doesn't even know how to do that himself. He can't reconstruct it, but she can. It's just a media lie. Okay, she just fabricated it. And she's literally a product of nanotechnology, and basically says she gives up her humanity because she hates Superman so much. Why does she hate Superman so much? And we find out from Lecter, it's envy. It's pure envy. And isn't that the true motivation behind all this cancel culture of these people wanting to cancel people to actually get people killed? You want children in Texas to be killed because it's a red state, and that area that you're talking about that was flooded, there are a lot of liberals, there are a lot of people of color, and poor people, frankly. Okay, so why would you do that? You're politicizing it, and we got some political message here too. It's not allegory, people. I'm going to chastise anyone who uses that word, especially political allegory. It's not allegory, okay? The two basic types of allegory, typological and reification, and this does not qualify this. Having a few political symbols that might resemble something, that's not going to qualify. So let's not get this too mixed up. Get your literary terms correct. Or someone like me whose pet peeve is misuse of the word deconstruction, I will absolutely eviscerate. When you have to spend so much time on a subject like that and do a defense before 3 committee members, well, actually 4, and 4 in my case because it was an interdisciplinary literature and science project using chaos theory. So there you go. I mean, this should be a simple plot, but it's very convoluted. A lot of it doesn't make sense. There's race swapping. That part that didn't particularly even bother me, that Perry White was black. Perry Black, I guess. Yeah, okay. Literally had to change that. But his character appears so briefly that you don't get a sense of this tough, gruff editor of this newspaper, or why he's important. You get more exposition of Jimmy Olsen, who provides some comic relief with Lecter's girlfriend. Kind of the Miss Teschmacher, but without as much integrity, I think. Okay, she's kind of silly, although she proves to be its undoing. But anyway, be that as it may, speaking of relationships, the some of the best parts of this, the best character in my opinion, is not Superman Clark Kent. It is Mr. Terrific. He literally leads the charge to go in to this pocket universe and save Superman. So, as of Heel versus Babyface said, you will believe a man can cry. Riffing off of the ad for the 1978 Superman, you will believe a man can fly. Okay. Well, there is quite a lot of action, and that part is rather amusing. But other than that, excuse me, some of the scenes just seem very awkward and contrived, and they don't fit together. Mm-mm. Um, you just don't get a sense that Superman is really super in this one. He cries a lot, and well, he does cry a lot, and he is emasculated a lot. Even in the end, after the resolution, he's emasculated by Supergirl, his cousin, and the dog is hers. He had been keeping the dog for her. Of course, the dog saves him. And in fact, my T-shirt, my Superman T-shirt, this is the "Take Me Home" T-shirt. And anyway, the one with Krypto, I would like to have as well. That was a really neat T-shirt. Cute dogs are always amusing, so he was one of my favorite characters. I'm sorry about Green Lantern. Some people like Green Lantern. He just reminded me of a blonde Mo Howard, and he was kind of annoying and snarky without, and he was one of the first of that Justice group to accuse Superman of wrongdoing. That because he had been sent there, that he knew about this so-called evidence that Jor-El was had sent him there to conquer Earth. I hate what they did to Jor-El. I hate what they did to Ma and Pa Kent. They made them stereotypical characters that were just ridiculously cornpone. They were so backward and what you would consider almost with a trailer trash type of dialect or inflections that just it's terrible. And that's the problem with the origin story. You don't get a sense. You get a little teeny sense that yeah, they're just good, honest, simple, decent people. But it's too southern. The accent's too southern. Okay, that's not how they speak in either Kansas or Ohio. Okay, so do don't use that kind of stereotype. And by the way, country doesn't mean dumb. Okay, it doesn't mean stupid. You know, I come from West Texas, and you know my dad was a cotton farmer. He was a very smart man though, and he engineered his own land. He was a hard worker. He would get up early and go plow and come back and do other chores around the farm, and we all worked. But don't think that that makes us stupid, okay? And I find this kind of arrogance of urbanites like James Gunn to be rather annoying. Okay, you sit down and interview some farmers and see how they live and how they speak before you use this kind of stereotype. It's just real damaging, and it's not helpful for the narrative at all. So let's avoid that, Jimmy. Just don't do that. They're not necessarily all simple like that, and certainly my childhood was not simple. So you know, be that as it may. Other characters, the engineer. Oh gosh, she's like a cross between Lucy, like the movie Lucy that starred ScarJo, and the security chief from Ready Player One, the one who has a gun, and she does all of these stunts, but with superpowers, okay, and just the annoying woman of color in here, kind of like Iron Shark. that type again, that type. And I think it's kind of sad that Gunn had to go to that type. This is one thing about Christopher Reeves and his portrayal of Superman. He makes him very sympathetic, but he has other emotions, and it's not just emotional. He really does have superpowers, and he is made weak by the kryptonite. But how they produce the kryptonite, and we saw what happened with imitation kryptonite, it makes all kinds of weird kinds of matrices. I don't know how else to explain, but it makes him split in two. Talk about split personality. Okay, kind of again, kind of silly, kind of contrived. It's not organic. It doesn't feel right, and frankly, I think that there are a few too many of these meta humans. You know what meta means? It means something about something. Okay, meta humans really, you know, I found part of the narrative that was kind of political was this idea of globalism instead of the American way. It's the global way. Okay, there you go. There's a little political symbolism. Not an allegory, but it is a symbolism. So let's call it what it is. That's was not great writing. Okay. Originally, I was telling people I'd give it 7 out of 10, but that's as if I was grading an essay. Okay, if I was grading a student's essay on a scale from F, from 0 to 100, and a 1 through 10, a 7 would be a 70. Okay, or 7.5 would be a 75, and so on. Same thing. Um, John gave it an A. He loved it. He was really very adamant about loving it, and he's a much bigger comic book fan than I am. So, and he knows more. So he knows more about it, and that was more to his liking back in the '70s when we were teenagers, and um, I even I even remember him back then. At the age of 18, we dated for a while, and then we married other people, and so we finally got back together 15 years ago. Be that as it may, he's a bigger comic book fan than I am, so I prefer historical dramas, things like Merchant Ivory, or let's go Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility, something like that. So I don't really, I'm not really an adrenaline junkie. I don't like roller coasters. I don't prefer things that frighten me, and um, I think that it's just a matter of different taste. So, but I thought that 7 was generous for it. It does have a lot of flaws. I think it's a good throwaway Saturday afternoon matinee showing. And that one time, I wouldn't go see this again. And believe me, you're talking to someone who's watched movies over and over again to decide, just how good the narratives are, how good the dialogues are, analyzing different parts. The cinematography was fine. It was okay. There was a lot of silliness in it, but it's a comic book. We remember it's a comic book. Anyway, what else do I want? I didn't want to forget anything, but obviously there's a lot to open up there with the multiverse being a no-no, and the Justice Group. Okay, yeah, meh, yeah, they're okay. Mr. Terrific is the best among them. and Jimmy turns out to be quite useful, as it turns out. But the rest of them, and the relationship between Lois and Clark slash Superman is a complex one, and they fight like cats and dogs. And but I bet they have great makeup sex. So they had spark. They had some chemistry, and that's good. And that, I think that there are people who are such scumbags, though, that they don't like to see a heterosexual relationship. Are you okay, Mr. Whiskers? That's my scruffy little dog that looks kind of like Crypto. In fact, he probably looks more like Crypto than Gun's original dog, since the Benji dog. My dog is a little Chihuahua, a little tiny one, long haired. He's a little sick guy, but anyway, he's a cutie. And Crypto's a cutie. I liked Crypto. He was a very heroic dog, very high energy though, quite a handful. Anyway, I'm gonna end my review there, because would I advise anyone go and see it a second time? No, no. This is another throwaway movie, but I found it amusing enough to give it a 70, and out of 100, or 7 out of 10. So that's it, and that's my ideas about Superman. Um, it will be coming to streaming soon, of course. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it on the streaming, that it's like I said, it's a good throwaway movie. You may or may not enjoy it, depending on your perspective. And that's the most shocking thing, is the difference, the schism between those who really hated it and those who really loved it. And of all of the movies I've seen lately, that is the widest gulf I've seen between critics, especially. Um, just unbelievable. You can't wrap your mind around the differences. But anyway, there are much more important things on our minds lately, I think. And be that as it may, we're all very jaded. If you're a Superman fan, you're going to be very jaded about this movie. If you're not, you may actually like it. So, but it was fun. It was fun to get out of the house and go see it. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a happy rest of your week, and we will get started on a new one. So, y'all, take care. From Kilgore, Texas, this is Jill Powers, signing off. Bye.